Very cool work, and welcome to the Buck Theater stage. Glad to have you.
Glad to be here. What's up, everybody? Yeah. Thanks for watching. So that movie it started out of like frustration of not doing anything. Prior to that, I was working on another project with a friend, and we just couldn't get it off the ground at all, and it just like, it just kept growing stale, so we just couldn't get anything done. So I ended up, shout out to my actor Jerry Lee, who's here as well. And so, not being able to get that project off the ground with one friend, I went to another friend, and I'm just like, look, we gotta do something, and he's much easier to work with, to his credit. And so we just picked up the camera, and the idea was just like prop, location, let's see what happens. And over the course of about like, maybe a couple days out of each week, during the course of a month, I think it was about 3 weeks, we put together just this like small little subtle creepy story, and the end part with the map and everything just kind of was like halfway between sleep and being awake, and I was just like, oh my god, that's it, like the map, the photos, like everything, so it just kind of came from like stagnation and became a film that I think we're both really proud of. Any questions?
Who's got questions? Oh, I see one in the way back.
Hi, I'm Brian.
Hi, Brian!
I give it 10 hits. I've actually shot in Fairmont too.
Hell yeah.
Were they cool? Did you all get permission? Because we actually had to like sign a waiver. I don't know if you guys did work those out. We weren't running around and stuff like that.
Very interesting question.
Yes, I did.
When we got there, we just jumped out of the car with our equipment, and it was just me and Jerry. And they pulled up on us in a black car and everything, thinking we're like Al Qaeda or something. The first question's like, what are you guys doing here? What are the cameras for? This is a private cemetery. You need to give us a lowdown. So I told them we were just students, like trying out our new equipment. It looks, it's nice in the cemetery, But the guy, I thank him in the credits. I forgot what his name is now. But he was really nice, and he was just like, yeah, well, as long as you're not trying to blow anything up, like, we're good. So they were all pretty cool, and actually we kept going back, and he gave me his card, so like I emailed him. I'm just like, yo, we're just like gonna get a couple more shots, like no biggie, but we really only had to deal with them the one time. And then I sent him the movie. I never got any word back from those guys, but I'm sure they loved it.
Hi, I'm Jim.
Hi, Jim.
I'll give it, I don't know, what did I hear in there? 3 flocks of seagulls. Not seagulls. Geese. There we go. Yeah. Your color correction, you had part of it in there where you were focused on him, and then what looked like you were correcting for a different color from what I guess we were supposed to be the ghost or something. From that
Okay.
movie.
Yeah. So there's like a slight effect anytime you're in the view of the ghost, the apparition, or whatever it is. And it's just like, I mean, it's a mixture of things, like more contrast and then like a little bit of tint from the blue or whatever. But I mean, it's very deliberately set aside from his experience, and being that it's like first person, my hope was that it would like encapsulate the audience member, like you're the ghost. And there's just a connection between this character and the character you're experiencing. So having that separation is like subtle, but it's definitely there, and it's definitely deliberate.
Yeah.
Who else? Right there. My name's Michael Bliss. Hi,
Michael Bliss.
And I just give it a huge shout out to Phil.
All right.
I love the dark room. I love film. I started off in high school in the dark room and shooting with them. So when I first started watching it, I saw the camera and I'm like, I bet that is actual film. It looks like you guys have a dark room. Are you still like using the dark room and developing film in the dark room? And yeah, that's my question.
So that question makes me happy because everything's digital. and the dark room is my basement. It's just that we printed all the photos on cardstock, and I made them all in Photoshop and all the ghost effects and whatever. But I have like a little cubby space in my basement, and we just hung a shoelace from one end to the other, clothespins, and we have a few takes where those photos just would curl up immediately. So like the illusion of it wasn't happening really. So we were lucky in that take that it actually kind of worked. We had a little tub with water in it because I was trying to get the sound effect of like water and him developing, but then realized like I don't really know how dark rooms work. Just pull it from out of frame up into frame, hang it up, and it's a red room. Like what else are you gonna think it is? So I'm really happy you asked that because I really had no idea to begin with. But I would like to work with more film.
We had a question right here from you. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Mo.
Hi, Mo.
I gave it 2 bottles of beer on the wall.
2 bottles of beer on the wall.
I really enjoyed your soundtrack. The sound was intense.
Thanks.
We can talk about that. Was it the original score?
Yeah, so the first half of that is from an artist called One Otrix Point Never. And he's just like kind of like an abstract electronic artist. And so I don't own that music, so I was hoping like nobody would come down on me in this event for that. I just thought it fit, it was on my scratch track at first, and I'm just gonna leave it in. But when Jerry's character walks up to the window, or that, whatever that is, the first time, that piece of music that kicks in is something that I made in college years ago, just like a little atmospheric kind of track, and it never was meant for anything, but as we started editing this, much as a testament to like the way that this project came about, it's just like a lot of pieces. So the one thing that gave me like confidence and hope and like making films and doing this thing is that oftentimes you create pieces far in the past that come to meet you again and find a place in the present time. So, it makes me feel like I don't have too much to worry about as long as I keep up that same level of creativity, or just like, it's really fighting off boredom most of the time, or like, let's see if I can do this or this kind of thing. But, so that second track is something I made, and, both of them kind of flow together, and I think without having any dialogue or any real like, focus on the emotional context of the main character or even the ghost character necessarily, that the music helps to kind of like create or connect some of those emotional moments. My favorite shot probably of the whole movie is when he's driving out of the cemetery and you just see like all the headstones passing by and the nice sun setting and everything, and his face in the frame. And it's just like, the way I describe this movie is, it's not like, to me it's not scary, like a scary movie, it just happens to be like supernatural. I think more so what's starting to bleed out is the relationship between like the living or the dead, or as perceived through my lens, it's like there's a connection made there, and I think the music really helps sell some of that emotional context. Side note, funny story, while we were making this, one night I was editing the movie and I stayed up real late, and I was like, I put my computer through some shit editing this movie already, so I'm gonna turn it off and leave it, just leave it off for the night, give it a rest. And so I turn it off and then I go to sleep. And then I wake up in the morning to the sound of the Apple Mac booting up. But it doesn't do that sound when it's closed or if you're not turning it on. And then maybe a couple days later, while we're still working on the film, I'm walking through my laundry room, and if you're coming through the laundry room, there's a door here, and there's a clothesline full of hangers in the laundry room. And there's no way I could have touched the hangers, and as I'm walking by, behind me I hear like a clickety-clack, and then I look behind me, one of the hangers is on the floor. So, and I'm a very superstitious person, so part of me likes to believe that we stirred something up out there in the cemetery, and that the character that you are throughout the movie is something that kind of stuck with me and stuck with the movie throughout the whole process of it, and was kind of like, wanted to play some more, like, let's do another, let's, come back to the cemetery, I'm not watching. So.
Awesome. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you guys.
All right. So we got one more amazing